Hello everyone and welcome back to the LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for the Qatar Grand Prix. Almost said Singapore, don't know why. Anyway, into the desert. The desert. Another desert circuit. Let's see how it goes. Igor on another lap yet again. Currently P4 of a 21.0. Zingy's not set a lap, he's on his way out as well as his teammate near the AlphaTauri. Ifajan. They should have experience around this circuit, as it was a circuit that lots of people drove very often at the beginning of the game. Maybe not so much now, but hopefully that muscle memory is still there and they can have a good race today. Got a couple drivers on the grid. Interestingly, Luke has disconnected from qualifying, which has then unfortunately retired his car, which just seems to be a bug that happens. So if you do get disconnected, then that's that. Anyway, looking so far so good for Igor, nice and tidy. Let's see what he can do as we go across the sector line. That's going to be a 5/6 tenths improvement almost. So he's looking to get a long way up. That'll be a 0.4 and he's on the provisional pole for now. Can he get the job done though and keep the lap tidy? So far so good. One more corner to go. Do not mess this one up. And that looks like it's pretty good. Can be very easy to invalidate on that exit. But he does it well. You're going to run out of VRS as you get up to the line, but then you will cross the timing line and you'll get a 20.5. So he dropped a little bit back just then at the end, but not too much at all, so he doesn't really need to worry whatsoever. We've got the McLaren of Heisler, I believe they're on a lap to set their next improvement lap. And I believe they are. We'll go across the sector line and have a look and see what they're doing. They are improving by half a second again, so that's going to be a 0.3, so they're on cue to currently get that pole. Luke has rejoined the session and they unfortunately going to have to start qualifying at the back. Heisler so close to invalidating on track limits there. They do it very well. A bit of understeer in the final corner, which is going to scrub the speed off. DRS available, and now they'll run up to the line. A long way to go, and finally across the line. And that is going to be a very nice one indeed. Zingy to immediately fight back. He can't. Fine enough. A 0.381 is not going to be anywhere near enough for him to come up there. Nipojan a 21-second lap time. So he gave it his best shot for the first lap, and he's still going to have another opportunity, I am sure. That is the first run done for the reigning champion. Can he come and fight back for pole position a little bit later on? Heisler's done a very good job there. I was going to say, we have Devon Young back in the lobby, who was challenging Zingy for the race in Spain. Can he do it again? Zingy was the challenged. Wait, no, not. Zingy was the one that was challenged. Hold on. Devon Young challenged Zingy for the race win. Can he do it again? That is what I wanted to say, not the other way around. Sorry. Let's just start again. Okay. Alright, into the pit lane goes Zingy, as he will not be setting another lap for a while, but you will want to wait till a little bit later on to get things sorted. You can see a very long pit entry that you have control of your car in. It can be a bit difficult to spot your braking point around this circuit pit entry wise, but so far no one seemed to have any issues and it's looking not too bad. Alright, we have Devon Young out again, and he obviously was pole for a while. That was not short-lived, because it's not a bad lap at all. He's going to go immediately to the pit lane as he's not happy with his outlap for some reason. And he's going to get some fresher tyres on, I guess. Actually, yeah, he can do. He can go for an even fresher set, because we will be restarting the lobby at the end of the sprint race to fix the tyre wear bug. So he can use as many tyres as he wants. Everybody can do that. You're probably going to see most people using 3 sets of tyres. We'll even go on the race director just to double check so we can see that. Already, Eagle Pro, Matt, Zingy, use their 3 sets. Heisler, I believe they've just come out and that's why it says 3 sets. So that's what they'll be using very, very shortly. Tom Brainer on his way into pit lane. I just wanted to double check that everything is being shown. There you go. All good. All right. So, no one out on circuit. That's a little bit awkward to commentate on. This circuit is a brand new one to the calendar. It's a favourite for some, but maybe not for others. High downforce, high speed. Lots of fuel is required for this circuit, and the load on the tyres is pretty immense. And you can see that in real Formula 1 as well, and it's going to be a problem throughout the grid. Throughout the virtual world, it can be a problem, especially if we had the bugs from the sprint race weekend that you usually get. But for now, it shouldn't come about. You should have normal tyre wear as long as we do the restart. So the sprint race will happen. It's about 9-10 laps. I think it's 10 laps. And then we'll have the normal race, of course, after that. Immediately out, back on the circuit is Tom Brainer. He's the last one in and the first one out. So we'll see what he can do. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Everybody else is leaving it quite late. We've got the Ferrari on their way down the pit lane. Nobody else yet. They're still waiting a little bit longer until they go into the pit lane. There's one of the AlphaTauris, and I assume everybody is going to dart out now and follow on. There's no chance that people are still staying in. The McLaren comes out. Okay, anyway, Tom's going to be the first one to try and improve. They're going to get some good practice in for tomorrow and see if they can score some good points in the F1.5 EU Championship. That would be brilliant for them. We've got Matt, who got such a good qualifying result back in, was that Singapore? Did they get pole? Where did they get pole? No, did they get pole in Spain? Sorry. And they've had pretty decent results throughout the season. They've been running in podium positions. They've just always had a couple of issues that has kind of held them back a little bit. They have got Zingy, who's keeping the outlap nice and pressurised as he's going to move out the way for Zingy. Zingy is trying to go for the overtake to try and make some progress. So a bit of a miscommunication there, but not anything to do with impeding. So it is how it will go. And, well, we'll try and go through a lap with Zingy and see how it's done. He is pretty good around here. I say that. Hopefully I'll remember all the corner numbers. But we'll go into the first corner, brake just after the 50-metre board, open up the corner nicely, not making it too wide, but wide enough so you get the traction down and you can open the steering as much as possible. Get the ERS in. You will run out towards the end of the lap, unfortunately, because of the long run down to the first corner into turn one. Nice and smooth, very rounded apex, and then this is kind of a bit of a late one you want to try and aim for, and then out onto the AstroTurf on the exit. And then we're going to go all the way to the left of the circuit here to use all of the track possible. Otherwise, you're going to just miss out on some valuable and easy lap times if you don't open up the corner into the braking zone. Very easy to lock the brakes. You might want a little bit of rear locking to try and get the car rotated. Very nicely navigated by Zingy. And then you get the lovely late apex into the following corner. And this is very easy to invalidate on. I was just going to say, and he has done it, that is going to be P2. Guaranteed for Zingy there. We've got Matt, who's on a lap. They're improving by about half a tenth, it says, for the time being. We'll get into the fast left-hander, one of my favourites, but so hard to get right. There's that's the AlphaTauri spinning round and slowing down. I do not believe that. That is still half a tenth improvement by Matt. Can he get a little bit more? Can he get to Zingy? I don't think he can. He's currently on course to beat Igor for the final part of qualifying. Will it happen though? Round the final corner, yet again we will go. Fourth gear, fifth gear, and you're just waiting. You're waiting for the line. DRS is open, but that's all you can do. Bouncing up and down the straight. And the time will not be enough to get to Zingy, but it will be enough to take down EagerPro. And it will be enough to take down EagerPro for good, as he unfortunately has had to back off of that lap. And that is going to be that one done. Devin Young looking for a good result. He's got the Aston just in front. The Aston dives into the pit lane. Zingy's into the pit lane and he retires from the session. The Red Bull driver, one final corner, a little bit too early on the throttle. Heisler proves even more. Across the line for Devon Young. What's it going to be? And it's going to be a P3. And he's nabbed it off Matt again. That is qualifying done. Heisler didn't really need to go out and get pole, but they've done it. They've done it. They had it anyway. Zingy P2 after invalidating mid-lap, and Devon Young sitting in P3. That's an interesting one, as Nifojan actually kind of bowing out of qualifying early on there, so they weren't able to make any more progress. Tom Brainer beat them with a 21.1. That is qualifying sorted. We'll get into the sprint race where Heisler will start on pole position. I'm not entirely sure if that's for the first time, but it is one of the first few times at least. Heisler takes pole position, Zingy in P2 and Devon Young in P3. Can Heisler keep this up? Can he get more pole positions in the future or even win today's race? We will see in a bit. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We are finally away. There you go. Heisler off pole position. Zingy, he's not going to have a chance on the inside. Surely he's going to have to take a nice deep angle if he wants to show his nose in. He does still show it, but I don't think it's going to work. Heisler holds on to pole position for now. That is absolutely perfect. Devon Young sitting behind us, battling further behind us. The Haas driver trying to get in front of Igor, but they can't quite. They back out and live to fight another day on the opening lap. That is absolutely epic. Heisler holds on, but he's got Devon Young, Tingy. Devon Young there. That's Igor making a mistake and colliding with Robbo. It seems Robbo's gone off the circuit. That's Tom Brainer trying to move out the way, avoiding action. And Robbo slots in behind for now. We've got Luke who's right behind. Is he really going to have a look on the inside line? That's never going to work. I don't know what was going to happen there. That is Nifojan and Tom Brainer down the order. Tom Brainer unfortunately taken off the circuit a little bit there. Nifojan, I guess, avoiding action potentially. But Robbo now sitting behind Luke. Luke 1.7 seconds behind Eager Pro, and everybody else is just in a casual train at the moment. Devon Young is the one that is closest to another car as of now. That is unfortunately Nifojan off and towards the pit lane area, so I'm not entirely sure what their intentions were there. That is going to be Zingy going for the lead already on lap 2 out of 10, and Heisler will no longer retain the lead. But I think this can be a pretty straightforward day for Heisler regarding being at the front. He did probably just get a warning for a track limit there, so you've got to be careful on that one. But I'm going to say it should be pretty straightforward regarding DRS trains. If they both switch up until the ends, they should be able to secure their results. That is going to be, however, Devon Young making a little bit of a mistake, colliding with Heischler and forcing Heischler to go a little bit deep. Zingy is going to escape now and might get DRS Heischler, but Zingy cannot think about that. He needs to do as best as he can to break away immediately. And if he can, then he can check out and relax for the rest of the race and secure some good points. Unfortunately, Niffa having more issues. In the background now, we've got a little bit of a train going on with Devon Young, of course, as we are watching on board with Matt and Eagle Pro right there. Luke not able to catch up to the train too much. They've caught up a little bit, but they've got to make sure that they find that 4/10 now rather than later when DRS has been enabled, because that's going to be even more impossible to actually fight. Heischler 0.7 seconds behind, so they are going to be within DRS range at least if they can hold on for one more lap to Zingy, and that would be very, very valuable to their race in the dirty air. It's so difficult to follow on. And that is Robbo. Robbo is out of the race in the pit lane. That is an interesting one. Already done. Strange. Okay, well, there goes Robbo. He's not going to be finishing the sprint race. And that will be how it goes. The first retirement, 8 drivers remaining. And everybody that finishes this race right now would score a point for the sprint race allocation regarding points. Lots of different lines, as you do have the dirty air affecting drivers racing line. 0.1 seconds is the gap that splits Zingy breaking away from DRS or Heischler being able to attack again. That is going to be a crucial turning point in this race. Who's going to be able to come out on top? I do not know. 0.8 seconds. Heischler doing everything he can at the moment. Zingy, he's just trying to drive the car in the way that he wants to. He's not pushing massively. He could push a little bit more. Heischler's pushing a little bit too hard on track limits. ERS-wise, both drivers not really doing too much. But that being said, you do want to save it in the early stages because it's so hard to actually save ERS around this circuit. You have to save it for later on. 0.7 seconds is the gap. You're going to see it close up. 0.5, could we get to 0.4? We will get to 0.4, almost 0.3. As you can see how powerful the DRS is down that really long straight. The longer the straight, the more top speed is available and the more powerful the DRS will become. Towards the end, it's just kind of science, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, Zingy leads the way. He continues to lead the way, and he is the only driver to win around this circuit. Nobody else has ever won around here. Of course, he won in both the Friday and Saturday tiers at Qatar. He's going to look at trying to do that again today. He won't be able to do it in F1.5, so regardless, tomorrow he will lose that track record. But at least for his own tiers, he will have a 100% win rate around this circuit. So all he's got to do is just drive as he usually does, nice and relaxed, keep everything controlled, which is what he's doing at the moment, and he'll be good to go. Like I said, it's not easy to save on ERS, and it could definitely be difficult to save fuel. We don't know what these guys are running fuel-wise. We could see some people having issues later on in this Grand Prix. We have the looming cars right behind, but they can't make any overtakes. The DRS is cancelled out for these guys. We have got Matty Wiley, who is so close to the back of the Red Bull, and he's going to go for the send. He is going to make it work, actually. So close to contact. It's not going to come out on top of anything, though. He will just sit there for now. Heischler getting a penalty this early on. He lifts off as maybe making a mistake. Devon Young tried to get in on the opportunity, but maybe misjudging the speed of the McLaren, and unfortunately they're going to end up, that is very, very tight. They're going to end up losing a lot of momentum, trying to get through on the outside line of the hairpin. Heischler not leaving much space at all, and that is going to be Heischler trying to take the racing line. Devon Young's not going to be happy with that one, and the Red Bull will have to stay behind for now. The Red Bull will argue he was there, and Devon Young will argue, Heischler will argue that he was dropping away so he could take the racing line. That is another penalty for Heischler. I'm not entirely sure if it is an actual penalty or if that would just be a double warning. But regardless, if they do have a double warning, they at least do have a guaranteed 3-second time penalty. Luke is right in the battle now. He's right there. I mean, he pretty much was for a while, but I just haven't really spoken about it too much. Here you go, though. Devon Young is going to go for that move. No DRS for Heichler. Matthew Wiley's got no ERS in that car. He's going to get swarmed by the Aston. Will Luke be involved? I don't think he will. Matthew Wiley trying to send it back to the inside line. Eagerpro's going to be shown the door. He's off the circuit. He's not going to be happy with that one, and he will be overtaken by the Ferrari and in turn by the Mercedes, who manages to spot the opportunity. Devon Young tried to do it earlier on. The Mercedes has managed to make it work rather well indeed. Eagerpro, he's not going to be happy with that at all, and he's going to probably try and get that penalty removed. And Heichler, unfortunately, goes off the circuit. Everybody's struggling. Everybody's involved. That is going to be a breakaway moment there for Devon Young. He's going to be good to go. Heichler trying his best to hold on after that mistake. Just losing everything at the moment. Losing all focus after getting that penalty maybe. And it's just not working out. Eagerpro trying to hold on the best they can. Luke has somehow ended up at the back of this battle after all of that. It was absolutely crazy. He managed to get in front, of course. And then you are kind of in the firing line. You are the main one to take the brunt of the force if there is a crash in front of you. So it is such a shame there for Luke to have those issues. He is still in the race and he still can do a very good job here, and time penalty wise he is still very much in this fight. Matt, he's got DRS, so he held on to that. He's not got any energy, but to be honest, not many people have much energy anyway. So everybody's pretty much just running as they were, just in a little bit of a different order. And of course Luke having to make yet again more progress. Do they have damage in that car? I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, it's not the pace that we're used to seeing, as they're losing a lot of time. Alrighty, sorry for the delay. Quickly do that and we're good to go. And that is another time penalty for Nifajan. Unfortunately, Luke's back in this race and hopefully he's good to go. But other than that, I don't think it's going to be too easy for him to catch up too much. Matt just holds on to DRS. Sorry for the moment of silence, but we are back and good to go until the end of the sprint race. And Zingy leads the way by 2.4 seconds with ERS to spare. He should be good to go. Luke retires in the pit lane. He's not happy with that one. He doesn't even want to take the further points. He's just going to retire regardless. And that's it. Devon Young sitting in P2. And he's doing a very good job. He should be able to get a pretty decent result. Matt has that time penalty, so he's probably going to struggle. And we'll see how it goes for the other guys with the penalties. That is Heichler going off the circuit. That's Eagerpro, unfortunately not in the battle with these guys. Maybe he had damage from something, I'm not entirely sure. Unfortunately, Luke has had wheel issues, so that is going to be them out of this race for good. Nifajan retires as they're not willing to complete the final few laps of the Grand Prix. So they will score 1 point instead of the 2 points that they could have had right there. But regardless, it is what it is. We have this battle going on and a lot of off-track moments for many of them as they're trying their best to maintain DRS. It's just not working. DRS available. They're about to start lap... No, they're not. Yeah, they are. There you go. Lap 9 of the Grand Prix there for Matt. And he closes up massively to Devon Young, but it's not enough, and it's not gonna be enough because the energy is not there. He can't deploy anything. Devon Young can't really deploy much either, but he's not flashing at least, so he does have a little bit more to use just in case that Ferrari did get a little bit too close for his liking. Heischler, he's pretty much screwed because the DRS is cancelling out, so he can't do anything. He's not got much energy either, so they're all just kind of sat there doing nothing at the moment, just minding their own business. And as long as Devon Young doesn't make any mistakes, this is how the race is going to go for these guys at least. Eager Pro's going to secure a P5 at the moment, and I don't know if he's going to be close enough to get to Heischler. I don't know how many warnings Eagle's got. He might want to try and get that penalty removed later on. So in theory, he could be right behind Heischler, and he could possibly actually make that overtake legitimately. But we'll find out, won't we? Alrighty, final lap. As you can see, Matthew Riley gets so close to the back of the Red Bull there, trying his absolute best. He's got one more main opportunity to go for it, and that will be down the start-finish straight again. A very, very long run into the first corner does make it possible to make overtakes as you cross the line. Let's find out if it is going to work for Matthew Wiley. I don't think it will. He's probably used a lot of his energy that he did actually have available to try and catch up there. He did such a good job of getting so close, but it's not enough. He just needs a little bit more. He's got to save the rest of the energy for this lap, or even balance it out so he can get as close as he can as you go around that final corner and maximize the DRS. Couple more corners to go, pretty much flat from now on. He's got the right-handers and then a left-hander to go, and that will be a slight lift. This should be pretty much flat, and this should be flat, but there might be a very slight lift. He does go down a little bit. Regardless, here is the opportunity coming up around the next corner. We are going to have to watch on board with this man. 3.8 seconds in the end. 3.9, and he uses all the energy, already celebrating. That is Zingy winning the Qatar Grand Prix. Devon Young will finish in P2, and Matt Riley will finish in P3. Heischler P4, Eager Pro P5, as he does drop behind a little bit, and I'm not sure if he's going to be within time penalty range after that. And that will be Tom Brainer, who finishes the race in P6. And fair play to stay into it once again, getting some good practice in for tomorrow. That is exactly what he needs. He can do a very good job tomorrow with this practice. Still another race to go. That is just a sprint race, so we will have a bit of a longer one. And this man is going to look to try and make it 100% win rate if he can. So far, I would say that is a very, very possible thought to have from Zingy. Strategies might come into play because the race is longer, of course. But with the pace that he had just there, and he was only really pushing on the final few laps ERS-wise, he's doing a pretty good job. We'll go through the results here. Zingy takes the win. Devon Young in P2. Matt Heischler, Eager Pro, Tom Brainer, Luke Niffo, and Robbo. That is the race director, just in case if we need to see it a little bit later on. And then we will go to the pit stops as well. And then we'll be back in a bit for the post-race interviews. We'll quickly have a look at to see, just in case, if Eagle would have got that penalty removed. I think maybe? No, he got another warning later on. So unfortunately, that penalty, for his sake, would not be removed. And well done for Heischler right there. Alright, we'll be back in a bit. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for waiting. We'll be with you very, very shortly. We're just loading in now. Ready? Hold! Go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We're finally away. Zingy gets away well. That's absolutely perfect. Devon Young trying to get into the toe to the outside line as the AlphaTauri goes defensive. The Ferrari right behind, swooping through. That's absolutely epic there from Devon Young. Phenomenal, phenomenal driving, but Zingy's coming back at him. Both on the hard tyres. This is neck and neck to the inside. I do not believe it. The Ferrari is coming through. He goes off the circuit. He's going to have to back off. Devon Young maintains that P2. That is Nifojan out of the race as that is a big, big collision there. Heischler spinning round. Nifojan getting caught up in it. Some sort of issue happened to Tom Brainer just a few moments ago. And that is unfortunately an early exit for one of the AlphaTauris right there. Only a virtual safety car for that kind of incident, which is interesting. Heischler looks like they might have damage. I believe they do, but unfortunately we can't tell from these camera angles. So it's very difficult to actually understand. We'll get a bit of a more zoomed in view. It doesn't seem they have damage, so maybe Nifojan has collided with the back of Heischler, and that is what has happened. I'm not entirely sure. But we go racing once again. Not quite yet. Is anybody going to try and go into the pit lane? Probably wouldn't be that wise to do. Anyway, Zingy is going to be the one to react. He gets a nice run on the straight, so he's not mid-corner. That is always good if you want to get a decent restart on the virtual safety car. Who's going to get the better restart? Will Devon Young be able to challenge Zingy into the first corner? Or are they still going to have to wait? They're still waiting. Zingy absolutely speeding through turn one. He's got to be so careful that he doesn't get himself a drive-through penalty. He's doing a decent job. It looks like he's maintaining it nicely, and that is absolutely perfect there for Zingy. Mid-corner restart for his rival behind him. That is exactly what you want. Not done a bad job as Devon Young. He's still right there, so that's pretty good on him. And we still have Matt right behind with Robbo in this race. Can he get a good result? He's overtaken Eagle already. Of course, it got in front of Heischler and Tom Brainer as they have both had issues. And they're sitting in P4 right behind the battle. Come on, let's see a good battle here. Matt, he was showing some very good racecraft earlier on. It got very aggressive, a little bit pushy and shovey. Devon Young is going to be the next one to maybe fall victim to that. Not victim, but be under attack. That being said though, the DRS train starts with Zingy, and it's going to begin to be effective with Devon Young, so Matt isn't really going to be fighting anytime soon as of now, and it's going to be more Zingy in trouble. ERS is being used just a little bit to make sure that he maintains that gap. Would he try and go for the move though? Don't think he would. Would we see a move a bit further behind? I don't think we will. It's the early stages of the Grand Prix. Everybody's just trying to settle in and carry on. Eagle Pro losing out a little bit, unfortunately. I believe he had damage in the sprint race. That's why he dropped back a little bit later on. Maybe that was with, was that Luke going off the circuit earlier on in that Grand Prix? So, yeah, that is a big shame for him. But he continues now, 1.3 seconds away. He needs to find a bit more time if he wants that DRS. And then he will be in the lead train of this Grand Prix. There's only 2 trains at the moment, which is Igor Heischler, and then the top 4, and then we have Tom Brainer on his own, of course. So it's all a little bit split, but it could definitely change very soon if people can work together, or if people fight too hard. That is the question. That is what we will find out very soon. Devon Young, he wants to have a go at making this overtake. Zingy, would he want to try and defend it and possibly risk everything ERS and strategy-wise, or would he just let it happen, fight Devon a little bit? You risk maybe crashing there. That is the problem that you get. Not that I think that Devon Young's going to crash, but the reason is because if you are going to overtake, you're always risking making contact. We have Matty Wiley, who's right behind here, looking pretty pacey, but yet again, not in a position to make an overtake. Fastest lap on the board for him for now as he's sitting right behind and he catches up massively. Devon Young catching up to Zingy, and even more so is Matt. So he's got a very nice slingshot, but not in a position to make an overtake on either driver. Ideally, if you're third in the train, you want to try and get the top 2 fighting each other, and then you can go for that double move and go straight into the lead. It's definitely possible. It's not easy, and a lot of things do have to go right, unfortunately, so you will have to try and time it right and wait. And if you're willing to wait, then great, but if you're not, then it's not the best idea. Bit of a loosey-goosey moment on the rear there for Matt in the Ferrari. Could have gone horribly wrong, could have ended it all, but he stays in and he managed to catch it very nicely. I think that was probably to do with maybe the entry line, trying to get the rotation, getting on the throttle a bit too hard as you have the wheel turn too much. That is where you lose the traction. Just a little bit too aggressive with the throttle and combined steering. Still though, riding all together pretty nicely. Might have been a warning there for Matt, unfortunately, but he still doesn't have a time penalty, so he's good to go for the time being. We go back to the start-finish straight. Devon Young, will he have a look at the lead this time around? He's closing up a lot more. If he used a bit of energy, he would be able to. He's actually lifted off at the end. We've got a battle here with Heischler, and Eagle Pro. Heischler goes for the move, and that's going to be pretty straightforward. He's not going to try and fight it back, is Igor, so they're going to try and hopefully catch up to the train in front and then battle, but with the DRS being available for the cars and them not fighting each other, it's just impossible to catch that much more. So I don't blame Igor for losing that time. It's just so hard to actually get any advantage if the cars in front are behaving, if that is the right word to use. Zingy leads the way, and he's done a very good job of it once again. That being said, of course, Devon Young, he didn't attempt an overtake earlier on. He is waiting. He's playing the longer game. He knows what to do. He knows what he needs to do to try and win this race. That being said, though, it's never going to be easy to out-strategize Zingy. He's very good at strategy naturally, but also if he gets a moment on his own and the car behind doesn't have DRS, he can just have such a significant advantage. He can break away from DRS, and you're pretty much never going to see him again. So, yeah, Devon's definitely got to think about that one, and he's going to be very, very smart about it if he wants to try and fight for the win of this Grand Prix. Everything's going to stay as it is once again. No, Devon Young having a quick look to the inside. That was a bit of a scare for the viewer point of view. Zingy didn't seem to worry about it too much, and Devon Young seemed to know what he was doing. So it's all good in the hands of the Red Bull driver, and it's all good, of course, for Zingy. We've got Matthew Wiley, who's got a massive amount of pressure from that Alpine. The Alpine is right there. Big mistake from the Ferrari as we speak. He's going to go off the circuit himself and get a penalty. He's going to try and hold on to the position. The switchback is available for the Alpine. Can he get the traction down? Nope. And he's just going to have to hold on for a little bit longer, unfortunately, until he can go for the move. Can he get it on the traction again? No. Matthew Wiley still holds on to DRS at the moment, but will that actually last? I don't entirely know. Hard tyre, of course, for Matt. Hard tyre for Zingy. So it is Robbo and Matt on the mediums, and Devon Young, he's on the hard tyre. So it's the top two on the hards, the next two are on the medium tyres. So really they should be in front, and they need to be in front if they want to make their strategy work. But right now, maybe they're just trying to stay within the DRS. There is a benefit of that. If you stay in the DRS, you can make your tyres last, and you can try and reduce the delta that you would have lost time-wise to the other cars if you have that DRS. Eager Pro going for the move as he's going to try and make this one work. Bit of a DRS train they've got going on. He will take the lead of this little train, and he is going to try and catch up to the cars in front. They were catching up. They did catch up a decent amount. Unfortunately, maybe a mistake was made, or the DRS in front is just so powerful that they do unfortunately lose out a little bit naturally, and that's how it will go. Yet again, this battle is going on. Matt did manage to make some progress on catching back up to the other cars, so he's done a very good job there. 3 second for Heischer, unfortunately. Once again, an early penalty. He goes off the circuit again and gets another penalty immediately, so I assume that'll probably be a 3 second instead. But that is, yeah, not ideal. He does drop behind Igor as well, so he's out of DRS range, and he's just got to try and gather his thoughts, focus, and then get back into this race a little bit later. He had pace. He was on pole position for the race, so it's not like he doesn't know how to drive the circuit. He's just got to find the rhythm, and that is, talking about rhythm, Robbo going off the circuit and maybe getting a penalty or a warning at least, so he can't do that too many times, otherwise he will be out of this race situation. We've got Matthew Wiley, who's so close to the back of Devon. He's going to put that pressure on, and that's exactly what he needs to do if he wants to try and force a bit of kerfuffle up in front, because, you know, if you can force the car in front to make an overtake, then you can possibly look at that double overtake that I was talking about earlier on. So he does really need to put that pressure on, rather than actually making the overtake on the Red Bull. Force them to make an overtake, and then you can make some pickings off of that without using too much energy than you would have if you actually tried to force them overtake and maybe even lose DRS from the car in front if you were to do that. So it's just the way you have to drive, and at the moment he's not in a position to do it. Zingy's done a very good job this lap as he's actually extended the gap a little bit. That is exactly what he needs to do. It's exactly what he is doing, and that's going to make Devon panic probably a little bit. He's going to have to use a bit of energy. He currently has a decent amount of energy, so he's going to have to try and take out a little bit from reserve, and that will degrade the plan for later on very slightly, I'm sure. That is Robbo getting that penalty at that penultimate corner. They do finally pay the price on lap 8, so unfortunate on their side, but that's how it goes, and they do get that penalty, as you should do generally. Matty Riley still, once again, so close behind, not in a position to overtake. He doesn't really want to, I assume, at this part of the race. Anyway, not much energy in his car, which is very, very, very interesting. Robbo in a similar situation. So these guys are holding on for the time being, but if you've got the top two cars on their hard tyres and not worrying about energy too much, then it's not going to look good for later on once the tyres do start to die off. That is a yellow. That is unfortunately Igor round, and he will drop behind Heischler, and he's going to be sitting in P6. He's not got a time penalty, so if something is to happen later on, he's still going to be in this race. But unfortunately, for the time being, that is going to be how it goes. He's going to have to sit behind at the moment and wait. We get on to lap 10 out of 29 as we will cross the line very, very shortly. Matt is once again the closest car. Actually, I say that Robbo is actually the closest car to another driver. So he is going to be the one to make an overtake if he was to make an overtake. And I think he might have to make one soon because the medium tyres are going to have to pit at some point sooner than the hards. So that does mean that they're going to want to try and make a little bit of progress before they make it to the pit lane. They do have to make sure, though, that they don't try so hard to make progress that they actually end up losing out. Matty Riley's going to try his best to hold on to the position, but also at the same time not lose too much time to the cars in front. Robbo needs to do exactly the opposite thing than Matt does. Yet again, though, still trying to hold on to the cars in front. Devon Young just needs to try and hold on to the car in front, which is Zingy. But Zingy's definitely starting to push a little bit there, pace-wise. Not battery-wise, but he's doing a very good job of it. Devon Young, he's having to find a little bit in the tank for energy deployment if he wants to get back at this. And he does catch up a lot in the high-speed corners. Loses a bit on the exit where you've got a bit of a lift to get through. So maybe setup-wise, Devon Young is much more advantage, but Zingy just has that confidence through the high-speed corners that you really have to get the throttle control down. And we know that Zingy's throttle control is absolutely epic. That is his strongest part in his racing ability. So it's nothing to be disappointed about if you can't compete with Zingy on the traction zone. Alrighty. Devon Young, lap 11 out of 29. He's got still a long way to go on these hard tyres. I say that probably between 16, 17, 18. I don't think you'd want to go any further than that because you can probably get a decent run on the set of medium tyres anyway. We'll get some data up on the screen as we can now. You can see positions gained. Robbo 4, the top three have stayed as they are. And then looking at the pit stops, no one has made any pit stops as of now. Time penalty wise, take Heischers with a pinch of salt because it might be a 3-second time penalty. Everybody else has got 3 seconds with Matt and Robbo, or Tom Brainer with a 6-second time penalty. And that is the tyre situation at the moment. That is a big off moment there for Zingy, as unfortunately he has gone against the grain from what I was saying earlier. Confidence in the corners where you have to lift. He's ended up going straight off the circuit and he's going to lose out a little bit of time. Does he find the urge to then use a bit of energy? He does seem to find the urge to use a bit of energy. Devon Young has also done that, but Matty Riley isn't that far behind. Robbo, on the other hand, has lost out, and this is not good for them. Are they going to have to make an early pit stop? Are they going to have to go for the severe undercut here? They've lost potential DRS. They might be able to get it back, but if they can't get it back, they have to do something a little bit differently. If not, try and overtake them on the undercut. Just force the other guys to change their strategy a little bit. And if the hard tyre runners right now do make an early pit stop, their tyres could wear out a lot at the end, and the hard tyres that Robbo will be on eventually could possibly get the advantage. He does have DRS, he's going to gain it back, so he should be good to go, but whether he's thought, okay, that was a close enough call, so I am going to take it to the pit lane, we will find out very, very soon. Will we even see Zingy go into the pit lane? As he's got so much confidence through these corners. We'll go into the penultimate corner. Lots of confidence. This time manages to keep it within track limits. Robbo, on the other hand, not able to do such thing, as he's now going to be on a 6-second time penalty, unfortunately. And Heisler also goes and takes the same trip off the circuit. Robbo's still within time, DRS range, but obviously those time penalties are never going to help, so it's definitely going to change their dynamic of the race. They're going to have to try and stay neutral, but maybe look at gaining things on things such as the strategy. They might be able to gain on Matt. Matt might get another time penalty, that would make them equal. The other guys might get time penalties. And if Robbo does get a decent strategy, they could actually break away from this 3-second gap. I do apologise, but I have just appeared to have the hiccups. So I hope that this isn't going to affect things, but we will find out if it does or not. Devon Young loses out on DRS range of Zingy. Zingy holding on a little bit. He's just trying to slowly eke it out. He doesn't want to use all of his battery to try and break away. Devon Young is going to have to use some battery. He's used the track limit there to try and maintain DRS. That is absolutely crucial. Matt goes into the pit lane. Will Robbo go for it? No! No, no, no! Why has he not gone for the pit lane? He's not going to get he is going to get DRS here, actually. Okay, so maybe going to go for 1 lap advantage. Maybe even 2. Actually, this could work for Robbo. Time penalty wise, obviously, it's still not going to work, but it might not be the worst idea in the world. Where will Matt come out? He's going to come out way behind EagerPro. Is he going to come out in front of Tom, or is Tom going to give him a bit of a challenge? I think he should come out a little way in front of Tom, if not side by side. Yep, it's going to be a nice little margin. He might be fought by the Haas driver very shortly if those tyres are nice and warm. But that being said, the tyre advantage within about a lap or so is just going to be so severe that it's not going to be that easy for him to compete anyway. That is now a plus 1 second gap to Zingy and Devon Young. Devon Young is going to have to take it into the pit lane now. Otherwise, they're just going to continue to drop off or hope that Zingy makes a mistake. Zingy might even try and react here and go into the pit lane early. Of course, Matt has already gone into the pit lane now, so they're going to look at getting that undercut on everyone else if they can. Would they have to try and get past EagerPro by the time they catch up? I don't think they would. Devon Young, interestingly, decides to carry on. Robbo decides to carry on another lap, and I would say that that's not the good idea, because it's not really the best idea, but it's not the worst idea in the world either. Maybe the overcut is the way to go, and in the past it has been proven that the undercut in the F123 game is the way to go, but of course it really depends on how a DRS train will go and if you can maintain that advantage. Right now, no one has got DRS, and that's exactly what Matt needs right now. Heisler into the pit lane, so he's not going to have to worry about overtaking the McLaren. And EagerPro, he stays out for now, and I really don't think that they'll meet each other by the time the Aston Martin does go into the pit lane, so he should be absolutely fine. This is going to be a nice little advantage that Matt will gain, and with the high-speed corners over, as I think Devon Young and Robbo, maybe even Zingy as well, he should gain a decent amount. The high loads, the grip advantage you would have, maybe compared to the hard tyres it's not as much, but to the old mediums, it will be very, very nice indeed. So he's still not deciding to go into the pit lane. He is just kind of putting laps in, using a very small amount of energy here and there to make sure he ramps up the pace and secures the gap that he needs to right now before he goes into the pit lane. A 2.2 second gap, it's only getting bigger, and that is absolutely what he needs. Robbo, a 15 lap old medium tyre, is catching up to Devon Young. He's catching up to Devon Young on the hard tyres at this stage of the Grand Prix, which is actually pretty cool. 0.2 seconds, however, maybe it was very short-lived, maybe he just used all of his energy, I'm not entirely sure. But Robbo, sitting there behind, putting the pressure on. Devon Young still has a bit of energy to actually hold on regardless. That is Matt making the move on Eager Pro into the pit lane. He's going to get significantly undercut by Heischler, and we will try and find out to see where Matt will come out behind the likes of Robbo, or in front of the likes of Robbo and Devon Young. You have to take the pit lane entry before the final corner. You have to slow down. It's a long one. It is a run immediately into turn 1 on exit, however, so that kind of shortens things. 20.2 seconds. Is that enough? Is that actually enough to come out in front? I'm not entirely convinced. I'm not entirely sure. Into the pit lane, though, does Devon Young go? Robbo still not opting for that. Is he waiting for a safety car, or is he waiting to go onto the soft tyre? The soft tyre is just not going to be the way to go, surely. The tyres are just overheating. You're going to be in the bin. But it's not his tier, so I guess he can experiment. There you go, Devon Young onto the medium tyre. Matthew Wiley out the final corner. It's going to be an interesting one. He's not as close as I thought he would have been. I think they're going to be going into the first corner together. No, Matthew Wiley's going to get that move very, very easily. Devon Young is going to be right behind him, though, because his tyres will fire up pretty quickly, and he is going to be good to go to the end. So it is all about the defensive masterclass, and also whether Devon Young actually gets a penalty, because right now he's a bit of a juggernaut penalty-wise, according to Matt, who has got a couple to his name, unfortunately. You can see the advantage that Matt now has. He's gained about 2 seconds on Robbo, so it is a significant margin that you get by going for that undercut. Zingy, I think he should be somewhat safe, because he was putting in decent laps. If he's not safe, it's just going to be pretty close. That's about it. Into the pit lane he goes. That is going to be lovely jubbly for him, and he's going to get that fresh set of medium tyres on. Be careful not to speed into the pit lane now as you go down the slight bump, the little downhill section. Very easy to get wrong, but he's managed to make it work. And now onto that tyre, as long as he doesn't mess up the button press and the team gets a bad pit stop, or he just forgets to make the pit lane exit. Nope, it's just a bit of lag. So he does leave the pit lane in an orderly fashion. Robbo, as expected, onto the soft tyre. There's Zingy. There's Matthew Wiley. Matthew Wiley is going to come into the lead of the Qatar Grand Prix. That is absolutely epic. Well done to him indeed. That is going to give Zingy a bit of a headache, and that's perfect news for Devon Young. 2.7 seconds away. He's now going to have a little bit of an interesting moment where somebody is going to be able to mix the grid up. Is it going to be that difficult for Zingy to dispatch of the Ferrari? He has the grip, he has the energy, and he will have the DRS. So it's probably going to be a pretty straightforward move at the end of this lap. And by the time we get to the Sarpin straight, Zingy's tyres should be somewhat good to go, as they are a medium tyre. They can just warm up pretty much instantly. And yeah, don't need to worry about it. Alrighty, Zingy is trying to line up this move, and Matthew Wiley, is he even going to bother fighting it? I'm not entirely sure if he really wants to. Time penalty wise, it's not exactly easy for him. Energy wise, he's got a decent amount, but there you go, look at the pace in that car. That's absolutely incredible. breaking away. It's impossible to fight back. And that is that done. Now, Zingy is going to try his best to break away. I say try his best, he will break away. You just look at the grip that he has in the corners. It's absolutely insane. Devon Young, 2.7 seconds away still from Matthew Wiley. Did he get damage on the pit lane entry or something? I'm not entirely sure, but compared to the hard tyres, he should be absolutely rapid, but he's not able to hold on. He's got a lot of energy in that car, so he can definitely go a little bit quicker. But regardless, he should be catching up probably a little bit quicker than this. He does go nicely now as I speak. But yeah, I was just a little bit surprised at the pace gain there. Maybe needed a little bit more. It should be a pretty straightforward P2 for him as long as he doesn't drop off too much. He will be good to go. Actually gets another 3-second penalty. The man on pole, Eager Pro, they were battling each other earlier on, but unfortunately it's split up a little bit. It's still going to be solid points, but not exactly what they want. And yeah, for the reserve drivers, Devon Young, he's going to have a lot of points in the bag, and he will be doing a very, very good job. Got 20 out of 29, not too much going on. Time penalty wise, it's going to be very interesting. 3 seconds there for Matthew Wiley. Devon Young, it's not really going to be too much of a worry for him. It is going to be a worry for him in the end. Okay, they're equal on time penalties. Zingy all of a sudden has now got a 6-second advantage to the entire grid minimum, maybe even more. Devon Young, he is gaining, so like I said, he's going to be good to go, but all of a sudden he's got a bit more of a headache than he did before. Matthew Wiley's saving a little bit of energy at the moment as he's running on his own, and that I think is going to be a crucial part of this race. He does need to make sure that he saves that energy. The Red Bull driver, he's got a lot in that car, and he should still have the significant advantage, but it's just not going to be quite so straightforward anymore. And maybe if Matt can defend very well, he could come back later, and it's very, very possible. I'm not like saying this to just exaggerate. It is very possible for this to happen. Devon Young needs to pick up the pace a little bit more if he wants to make the move and break away. Matt isn't doing a bad job on these hard tyres, and they're only going to get quicker from about lap 8 for Devon. Obviously, lap 8 is going to come around and then the race is going to be over pretty soon afterwards. But still, regardless, Matt's tyres aren't going to be terrible either. They are 7 laps old already themselves, but like I said, the crossover point will come around at some point, and Matt is going to be right there. So this could be an interesting one. Has the hard medium worked, or has the medium hard worked well as well? Robbo's going to come into the mix. I forgot that he's actually on the soft tyre, so he's trying his best to make this aggressive strategy work. He has caught up. It's not exactly much different pace-wise, and he does need to be very aggressive. He's a little bit rickety on the track limits, but obviously he just needs to make sure that he gets that under control for tomorrow, and he's absolutely good to go. On the exit, Eager Pro, 3-second time penalty. That is Robbo trying his very best to push with the energy, but it's not going to be possible. Will it be possible for Devon Young to make a move on the inside? It will be. He's already going to go for it, and that is going to be Robbo to the inside line. He's trying to get involved in this one. That is exactly what Matthew Wiley does not need at all. So he's going to try his best to hold on, and he will try his best to hold on, and he will hold on. Soft tyres, they're not going to last much longer, so he's going to be right there. That is a big loss on the rear for Matthew Wiley. Unfortunately, that's a very unfortunate moment for both drivers. That's going to be a bit of time loss there for Matthew Wiley that he really didn't need, because he needs to be within that DRS range And of course that was an opportunity there gone for Robbo to make that move, and that might be all of the opportunities done for that soft tyre at least. So unfortunately that is going to be a very unfortunate way for Robbo to be. It's not impossible for him to catch back up, and I know it's only lap 4, but it's Qatar. It's high load. It's high temperature. It's just not going to work with a set of softs for very long, if at all. Zingy leads the way by 6.5 seconds. That is going to be Robbo into the pit lane, and we will have Matt on the hard tyre, still within DRS range. So he's done enough to hold on, and he is good to go. He's going to have a bit of a long journey to the end of this Grand Prix. He's going to try his best to get a little bit closer if he can. And then that will be how it goes for a while. He just needs to make sure he holds on. I really hope he does, because this will be a very good battle to watch. Lap 23 out of 29. Not long to go anymore. Zingy is on cue to get the 100% win rate around Qatar. That is a great achievement for him. Nobody else has seen the top step of the podium other than the Scotsman. A mix of strategies today has really changed things up. Of course, you've got the standard hard medium, the medium hard thrown in by Matt, and then we had the medium soft attempted by Robbo. And then, of course, Tom Brainer's recently gone on to the set of soft himself. Matt is holding on and doing his best. He does catch up nicely in the DRS train, but he has used a bit of energy to maintain this gap. Devon Young isn't exactly amazing energy-wise, so it's not that it's going to be so easy for him to defend. But every advantage is definitely very valuable around the circuit, and if there is one slight mistake from Matt, then all of a sudden everything is lost. If there's a slight mistake from Devon Young, he can still have a go at maintaining this P2. But that's how it goes, and he's just going to make sure that he keeps calm. Really, the main pressure is on the Ferrari driver at the moment. Talking about pressure, no pressure on this guy. He's actually only running about half a battery, so interesting. But just kind of relaxing on his own at the moment. Doesn't need to risk anything, doesn't need to risk track limits, and he will extend his championship lead even further. He didn't win last race, of course, as he didn't arrive, as he wasn't there, but he's going to return and try and take another win. Matthew Riley closing up. He knows what he's got to do. If he can get an opportunity to make an overtake, he has to slow down the Red Bull driver, and he will force the Red Bull to go and take a little different line. Even though he didn't make that move, he still slowed down the car and was able to prevent them from breaking away on that medium tyre. So this is perfect here from Matthew Riley. This is exactly what he should be doing. ERS, of course, is the only advantage that he really needs to try and get on top of. But other than that, he is doing a phenomenal job at the moment of holding on. And it's only going to get better for him. I think within the next 2 laps, it's going to be pro Matthew Riley, tyre-wise, and then he will be good to go. Tom Brainerd gets a penalty towards the end of the Grand Prix, just trying to drive on their own at the moment, as I said, getting some good data in. That is an interesting moment there for Matt, as he goes off the circuit, could have possibly risked himself getting a penalty there, taking very different lines as Matthew Riley is trying his best to get a good exit. Rather with Devon Young, he's just trying to send it into the corner yet again, just trying to slow down that Red Bull and make sure that he holds on to the back of him. Right now, Devon Young is pretty much hopeless DRS-wise. They just have to try and hope that they can defend at the end of the Grand Prix, which they probably can do a very good job of, but that Ferrari is just lurking behind, and when they do try and gun for it, I'm sure they're going to be very quick. Devon Young hasn't got exactly too much energy to use to defend, so that DRS will be the difference to everything. Right now, it's not easy because you can see the Ferrari is only catching up by the time we get to the first corner. So he really does need a little bit more energy if he wants to hold on. So he's got to be so careful with how he uses this, but at the moment he's using it on the exits of corners, which is never going to work. You need to save it now and use it later if you want to get the advantage on the final few laps. He just needs to try and figure that out soon. Otherwise, Devon Young is going to have a pretty easy victory here. Once again, very different lines, and they are working quite well. DRS available here for Devon Young. And I think this time, Matthew Riley's going to be a lot closer. Will he go to the inside line? And I think he's actually going to gain the position fully. Devon isn't going to worry about that. He knows what he's doing here. He's holding on behind, and then he will go for the move on the final few laps. That being said, that move there was a little bit different, but if Matthew Riley can get a good exit out of that final corner, he will possibly be able to hold on. As we saw, the overtake was only possible in previous laps from the Ferrari once he got to turn one, so it's not going to be so straightforward for Devon here. He's definitely having a think about this, and there's a very viable strategy, but there is a slight gamble that you could lose it here, as Matt Wiley is only going to be quicker and quicker from this point onwards compared to that medium tyre. No energy to be deployed to that though, so it is going to be a very, very close run to turn one, I believe. Running very wide off the circuit. He's got to be so careful he doesn't do that again, because that's two warnings there that I've now seen, which has not resulted in a time penalty, so I think he's probably got one more, and then he will get a 6-second time penalty. DRS available here for Devon Young. Will he try and go for the move already, or is he going to sit behind? He's not using energy. He will go for the move, but he's pulled out a little bit too late and made contact with the back of the Ferrari. I don't know if he would have got damage from that. I think he was hoping to just sit behind anyway, but he didn't actually pull alongside early enough. Made contact. Nothing to come out of it, so there's nothing to worry about, but it's just a weird one, because misjudging that has possibly cost him a bit of front wing damage, and if it has cost him front wing damage, then it's cost him pretty much the race win, because you really need a front wing around this circuit. I mean, you need a front wing around most circuits, but this circuit even more so because of the high speed. You know what I mean. Alright, anyway, Matt is not doing a bad job. He's trying his best to maintain the gap and hold it as wide as he possibly can. Not too much energy left. Zingy is about to come around the final corner to start their final lap of the Grand Prix. I know we haven't watched them too much since the battles at the beginning, but you know, if you're doing a good enough job, you don't need to be watched. He's doing a very good job. Right now, Matthew Riley, he is going to come around the final corner to start the penultimate lap, and as I thought, he gets a penalty for going off one more time, and that is going to be, regardless, an easy move. If it was not on track, it would have been on penalties anyway for Devon Young. Matthew Riley can still try and go for the move on track if he can, a little bit later on, but unfortunately, I think that is going to be the podium settled on the end of the penultimate lap rather than the final lap. That is a heck of a shame there for the Ferrari driver, but he's definitely given us some good anticipation. We had a lot of suspension there to who was going to get that P2. Now we pretty much know who it's going to be, unless there's a massive mistake. It is pretty much sorted at the moment. Still, like I said, it depends, because you could get a penalty removed, maybe. You might not be able to get a penalty removed, but if he is able to get it on track, it could definitely be up for grabs post-race. We will go back to this one, but we have to watch this guy for now. Zingy has done it again and again and again. That is 4 wins around Qatar, sprint and feature race. Zingy wins the Qatar Grand Prix yet again. Awesome driving from him. Devon Young's going to take a P2. I don't think Matt's going to get there in the end, but it was a very, very good effort. And thank you very much for the entertainment there. Heischler is going to take a P4, and solid points there for Egapro as well, as he goes and gets a celebratory time penalty just to finish off the race. And then we will finish the race with Tom Brainer, who will make his way around the final sector, and he is very well prepared for tomorrow, as he's got basically 1.5 races under his belt, so he is good to go. But this guy, we'll watch him now. He deserves at least some screen time. He's done an incredible job, and no question about it. Was he the favourite to win? He's done it. He's proven us right. Will he be beaten? Will he be beaten? We will not find out next week because we have a break week, but after that, I believe, is it maybe Great Britain, the next circuit, if I'm correct in saying. Matt gets driver of the day. I think that's very well deserved. He's done a very good job to give us a lot of entertainment, and he gets a podium finally for Ferrari. That is Devon Young on the podium yet again in the F1 tier, so very well deserved. We'll go through the results. Ziggy takes the win, Devon Young in P2, Matt in P3, Heischler, Egapro, Tom Brainer, DNFing was Robbo and Nifajan earlier on. We're going to scroll through the race director just in case. And then we will also, of course, as usual, go through the pit stop section as well. Just in case we need to. Again, I'm going to quickly just do that. Just so we can make sure that we get it. Because it was a bit blurry on my screen, but I think that might just be the monitor rather than the game and the live stream, so we should be okay. Alright, that should be everything. Alright, we will see you in a bit for the post-race interviews. Hello everyone and welcome back to the LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for the post-race interviews of the Qatar Grand Prix. Devon Young, that was an interesting one. Do you think you had a chance at maybe getting that P1, or do you think it was just a matter of time?
I think towards the first stint and certainly in the sprint, I kind of had a feeling like maybe I was in it for a chance at the win. Right up until I lost DRS to Zingy, I was like, there is a possibility, but as soon as I dropped out, I don't know if it was like my tires had just gone or whatever, but as soon as I dropped out, he just dropped me completely. So, I mean, yeah, as soon as he did that, I kind of realized that it was maybe like I was fighting for P2. So up until that point, yeah, I kind of thought I had a chance, but clearly not.
Did you have any concerns about the tyre situation at the end? Obviously, before the time penalty fiasco was then eventually in your advantage, were you maybe thinking that you might lose out, or did you always have confidence?
I think this was quite difficult in Qatar because you can do so much like different strategies. I think Qatar is very much a track that's like quite dependent on the strategy in terms of like tire, fuel, ERS. So I think certainly when I was in between Robbo and Matt, I think it was Matt was on hards, Robbo was on softs. It was quite unsure to know if I was on the right tire or not. But in the end, I think it paid off all right. I think maybe if Matt pitted a bit later and went onto those hards a bit later, he might have caused me a few issues. But I think he pitted 3 laps before me, so he didn't have that much of an advantage at the end, and I managed to hold him off, I suppose.
Yeah, well done. It was well held from you, and it gives you a lot of confidence, I guess, into tomorrow's race. I wish you all the best there. Do you think you can maybe get the win tomorrow?
Well, I presume Zingy's not racing, so I don't know. It's hard to say because it's probably going to be a full grid tomorrow, so there might be someone who's just got like incredible pace. I feel confident. I think coming out of a P2 here, like relatively comfortable, has gave me a little bit of confidence, which is always quite nice to have. Like I think it makes you a little bit more consistent, maybe. So we'll see though. That was a very fun race, so I look forward to tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, next circuit, Great Britain. It is in 2 weeks. Regardless of if you can be there or not, do you like that circuit?
Yeah, I think it's kind of impossible not to enjoy Silverstone, especially like it's a home track for me, obviously. So I definitely have done quite a few laps there. Whether I'm like confident, I'm not. It's hard to say right now. I'll see how I feel when I start, doing a little bit of practice. But no, it's definitely a circuit I enjoy.
That's good to hear. Hopefully it can go well for you there. Good luck tomorrow. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Oh, didn't think about this.
I would hate to do this. Whenever I try and think of 3 words, I can never do it.
Very, very fun. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today. Great effort.
Thank you.
And we move on to Heischler. Heischler, that was tough. Pole position, couple of issues, maybe lost the momentum, do you think?
No, just too much of a quality setup, I believe.
Fair enough. Do you know what maybe went wrong on the setup?
Yeah, I have. That was actually my last setup. I could have asked to my setup maker, or at least the guy who always has a good setup. But this time it didn't work for me. This setup, just the rear wings were too low, and yeah, I struggled overall just with grip because I tried to lower the front wing. Didn't help as well. So yeah, just overall no grip, nothing. Next time I think I'm just gonna make my own setup because this wasn't nice.
Fair enough. Well, that's a learning point for Qatar. Next race, Great Britain. Do you like that circuit? Do you think you can have another look at a pole position?
Well, I believe I have improved a lot on my pace. I've been a lot closer to Flaw and Singy most of the times now. So yeah, I do think I can get maybe a pole, but Singy is obviously a bit more consistent on that. So if I'm lucky, I will get one, but we'll see.
Awesome. Thank you very much. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
What a shit show.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Matt. Matt, that was so close. It was very well fought. Thank you very much for a great battle all the way to the end. Do you think that strategy was the right call?
No, I wish I went on the hards at the beginning with everyone else. But the mediums definitely paid off. Being on a softer tire, I tried to be a bit more aggressive at the beginning of the race, which caused a bit of issues for other drivers, which I did apologize for. But it's racing.
Yeah. Later on, if you didn't get that time penalty, do you think you could have possibly held on to that P2?
Well, I already had a 6 seconds, and Devon he only had a 3 seconds, so I think I might have been able to get past him, but I would have lost the position in the end. He was just keeping it on track. He really didn't put a foot wrong as far as I could see.
Fair enough. Well, that's very humble of you. Well done. That was an awesome race, and it's good to see you on the podium, bringing Ferrari back up there. Well done. Next race, Great Britain. Whether you can be there or not, do you like that circuit? Is it strong for you?
Silverstone's a tricky one. I enjoy it, but track limits are always tricky, especially like Mackett's, Beckett's, all that sort of stuff. And so you just got to be a bit careful for that. But I'm looking forward to it if I am in town.
Surely it can't be worse than Qatar for track limits. Surely there's no way.
No, but it's cops and then Mackett's and Beckett's. It's like 5 corners. It's just so easy to just put your tire over, and it's those fine margins that really make a difference during the race.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, well done. Thank you very much. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Fun but messy.
Thank you very much. It's a good way. It is a good way. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. Awesome job. And we move on to Tom Brainer. Tom, good practice for tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It was, I think, the 7 races in 3 days for me on the track.
Wow.
Just practicing. I think the pace would have matched with the others on top, but with 2 self-made problems, there is nothing more to go.
Are you confident tomorrow then?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome.
If the track limits are off.
I think a lot of people want track limits to be off. Maybe we should have considered it, and that would have been something special. That would have been really exciting, actually. Oh, I should have thought of that before. Great Britain is the next circuit. Do you like that circuit more than Qatar?
Great Britain is a nice track for sure, but I would say I enjoy Qatar more as it stands now.
Fair enough. Well, one last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Your stream looked good.
Thank you very much. It was completely luck, and luckily it worked well. But yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully I can improve the quality even more soon, but we'll find out eventually. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. And we move on to the race winner. Zingy, you maintain a 100% win rate around Qatar. I always get that wrong with my R's. I mean, that's pretty good from you. Do you have any doubt that you might have lost out there? Early on it was pretty close.
Yeah, no. I noticed that the gap would go to 9/10s and then he'd come back to 5 with DRS, and I thought, well, if I can maintain a 4/10s advantage, which I am, turned out to be 5/10s. And then when he lost DRS, it was quite easy to pull away. So I realised if I just keep my pace, then I'll eventually break his DRS. He'll make a mistake, and then I'll pull away from then. But I didn't expect to have such good pace, especially after my practice that I done, because I was struggling quite a bit. But last minute changes actually helped me for once, so I'm not complaining.
That's not what usually happens when you do last minute changes, but I do have a question. What happened in quali? Not more badges, was it?
No.
The desert
This
badger?
time, nah, there was a fan on the track.
Okay.
Did you not see it?
Well,
Turn 7, it was.
Damn. Well, that is a shame. Great Britain in 2 weeks' time. How's that circuit for you? Do you like that raceability-wise?
Yeah, but if I've got more pace, then it's going to be so difficult to pull away, so it's going to be a pain to, just run around the track whilst having people behind me the whole race. So
Surely that's
I'll
a
have to
good
see
thing
what
to
I can
make
do.
it more exciting, no?
I like racing to some extent, but I always like winning. So I'll make it entertaining, but the result's not going to change.
Fair enough. The opposite to his old teammate Sebok, the mindset is just completely the other way around. Well, thank you very much, Ziggy, and well done today. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
A lot of drag.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. That has been it for the post-race interviews. That has been it for the Qatar Grand Prix for the F1 World Championship. We'll see you tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship. That is going to be a very, very interesting one indeed. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for Great Britain. Enjoy the week break next week. Thank you very much, and good night.